Welcome to Fast Politics, Governor Newsom.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
It has been like the last 2 weeks, you've had this incredible social media breakthrough that I think as much as the redistricting has also been a part of that. So I'd love you to explain to us what happened. What was the moment that you were like, okay, this is not business as usual. We have to really get going on this.
I think there wasn't one particular moment. I think it's a process that unfolded over the course of many months, going back candidly to January, going back to the early days of Donald Trump's transition, where he was transitioning back into familiar talking points about water policy in California, and completely lying, misrepresenting facts and truths, and advancing myths that were popularized on Fox and One American News and Newsmax and on right-wing blogs, and then were amplified to a whole nother level by Elon Musk at the time. And it was a challenging moment because those first few days, they were winning the messaging battle in the middle of those fires as we're trying to put them out. Unprecedented winter firestorms, 100-mile-an-hour winds attached to fires. And as a consequence of that, we had to get back on our toes and we had to shift in terms of our mindset. But that was reinforced, and forgive the long-windedness, once again when the National Guard was federalized, when we saw 700 active duty Marines go onto the streets of an American city, not active duty Marines sent overseas, which Donald Trump has never done, but to the United States of America in the second largest city that happens to be in my state. And my state of mind radically changed at that moment. And our media shift changed, our research, our clarity, our focus. The conditions changed, so we had to change. And we were no longer apologetic about things. I wasn't trying to play nice. And I know a lot of good people just play nice, talk about what you really focused on every day, and people will pay attention to your 10-point plan on affordability and talk about kitchen table issues. Well, we've been doing that every damn day for years and years and years, with all due respect. And that doesn't get picked up. And then we're chasing lies and misrepresentations and untruths. And so about a few weeks ago, as it relates to this redistricting, we decided, yeah, we're going to punch him back and we're going to put a mirror up to the absurdity that is Donald Trump. And that's all this is. And we're going to put up a mirror to his acolytes in the media, to Sean Hannity. Yes, sorry, Sean. To not just you, but Laura Ingraham, to Jesse Waters and Gutfeld and all of these folks that are literally part of his, chatbots that every day are just spewing these lies and misrepresentations without any consideration or consciousness to how offensive and absurd and laughable Donald Trump's all-capped Truth Socials are, and his posing in pictures as, a pope or a Superman. And so I hope we've begun to expose a little bit of that. And I think that is required at this moment as well.
There's a lot of academics who have written about this idea that when you're faced with an autocrat, they really hate it when you make fun of them. And I'm thinking of like Charlie Chaplin. There's a long history of trying to like inject humor into pushing back against autocracy. I wonder if you could talk about, and we know Trump hates to be laughed at.
Yeah.
Do you just talk to me about that?
No, look, we've tried everything. One thing about me is, I'm willing to try new things. I'm willing to iterate.
Right.
It's one thing that carries with me in my private life as a small business person that's created 23 jobs. And I'm not trying to say that to impress you, but to impress upon you an entrepreneurial mindset that I've brought into the work I've done as mayor, lieutenant governor, and now governor. I want to increase the number of tries, see what works. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so I've been doing that. I hope some people paid a little attention going on Fox, meeting people where they are, debating Ron DeSantis, opening up a PAC, but only focusing on parts of the country that Democrats, with all due respect, haven't been focused on, in Mississippi and Arkansas, in some of the more conservative parts and rural parts of our country. And this is part and parcel of that, a willingness to try new things, to see what works. But what's interesting about this is how it's gotten under their skin. What's interesting about this is we put a lens up. It's a mirror right back at them. And we've exposed their situational unawareness, their tone deafness. And interesting, more than anything else, we've actually broken through from a communications perspective, using humor, but also, I think, culture as well. I think this is also part of why Trump is so successful, his ability, he captures that in those images. He captures culture, he captures memes, he captures moments, and he also captures mind share because it is humorous. And people do look
Right.
forward to his next Truth Social. We may deny it, but we're all tuned in his press conferences because we don't know what's going to come next. And I think there's something to learn about that. It's all changed. It's all
Right.
changed. We have to change. We can't play in
Right.
the margins and we can't go slow anymore.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now, talk to me about the redistricting. So, Texas, we have a lot of Republicans who want Donald Trump to support them, that wants to run maybe for president. Paxton wants to run for Senate. There's a lot of ambition. Donald Trump says, get me 5 seats. Talk us through what happens next.
Well, there's a lot of ambition and then there's just cowardice. I
Right.
mean, just the perfect little sheep. Yes, sir, and he dialed it up, says he's quote unquote entitled to 5 seats. Just stop right there. That should be a week of just reporting on that statement from the President of the United States. The encroaching authoritarianism of a statement just alone like that, which got lost in all of this. And of course, these lapdogs said, yes, sir. And, oh, yes, and we're going to send the vice president to Indiana. And, oh, Ron DeSantis, not turned out yet. Hey, I'm here. Hey, Donald, May, I'm here. I'll do what we can do more. Others in Missouri now, obviously, what's happening already was already pre-existing, happening in Ohio. So this is serious. It's very serious. And I appreciate. I watched some of my friends, some pundits, former governors saying, two wrongs don't make a right. I get it. But the world's changed. We have to change. It's not just thinking anew, it's acting anew. And I think what we're trying to do on redistricting is that distinction. And I think it's a critical distinction. It's not good enough to identify a problem anymore. It's not good enough to talk a big game. We've got to deliver now. People have had it. The Democratic Party appears weak. We appear feckless. We're not delivering these results that people demand. Trump, it followed the old Clinton playbook. Strong and wrong beats weak and right. We can act holier than thou, so right and righteous, academically pure, but we're getting rolled here, and democracy
Yeah.
is in peril. And so from my perspective, there was a sense of urgency. The California congressional delegation understood that. They moved, and the California legislature is moving. And now we're going to ask the people, we the people, on November 4th, the special election, the most transparent redistricting in U.S. history. There's never been a state that's put up its maps to the people. And that marks as well the moral authority we're bringing to this, not just the formal authority on our redistricting approach.
5 seats, theoretically. I wonder if you could explain to us sort of, it feels like the polling, people are with you on this polling, right? The polling says that 70% of Democrats don't want to do this partisan redistricting, but as a response to
Yeah.
Republicans, they want to do it. It's 68%. So clearly you are on, people are agreeing with you here. Is that the sense you're getting? I've certainly heard Republicans making noise about this, but I haven't really heard people who understand how important it is to check Trump making
Well,
noise
look,
about this.
so full disclosure, so folks know who they're listening or watching. I've long supported independent redistricting. I was actually, mayor of San Francisco at the time, broke with my party on this. Was very public coming out against the repeal of independent redistricting. So I've long supported it. And that's why, for me, this needed to be done in a temporary manner in response to the shots fired from Texas and these other Republican states. This is not a fight we wanted, but it's a fight we're happy to take on. And we're going to fight, as I said, fire with fire. And we're going to do so in a transparent way by putting the maps up, and in a democratic way. We're maintaining the independent redistricting. We're not eliminating it. It goes back to its original form after the 30 census, and it's just for congressionals. We'll maintain the independent redistricting status for existing legislative races and the like. And so it's in response, again, to this existential moment marked by the campaign kickoff just a week ago. Of all
Right.
places, the Democracy Center, Little Tokyo in LA, the exact site. I don't mean next door, the exact same site. We were picking up people and busing them for the Japanese internment. And you know what Trump did? Trump sent his thugs masked. He then sent his spokesperson for Border Patrol to that exact site. That is a preview of things to come. I guarantee you, I said this with the National Guard. I don't know what more evidence you all need in DC right now. It was a preview of things to come. He's testing things out in my home state. He will send these folks out to chill voter turnout around voting booths, around polling places this November and next November. We are on the other side of things. Everyone needs to wake up, with all due respect to the precious pundits out there. They're holding on to a world that literally is disappearing in front of us, and it's gone. It will be gone unless we do things differently and meet this moment. So that's where my energy is, and that's where I hope the voters are this November.
So I landed in LA last week to do Bill Maher, landed, got into my hotel, turned on the television, was watching your presser on KTLA, the local station, and watching them arrest people outside. A terrifying split screen.
Yeah. And it's happening. This is America. That was not a split screen in Orban's Hungary. That was not something happening in Turkey. That was not something happening in our favorite countries, the axis of evil countries. That's the United States of America, where Donald Trump, the same city where he sent 700 active duty Marines. Again, I'll remind people, the President of the United States sent 700 active duty Marines to Los Angeles, federalized 4,000 National Guard indiscriminately at that same moment. What you watched was a poor guy selling strawberries, hardly on the list of the most dangerous and vile criminals that we had to attack. That was attacking free speech, assembly. It was attacking the rule of law. It was creating a chill, just like J.D. Vance's masterclass of weakness yesterday, with that guy, Stephen Miller, standing there with the Secretary of Defense, the Pentagon, standing there at Union Station in Washington, D.C., with the military behind them. This is not just encroaching authoritarianism. If you're black or brown, particularly if you're Latino in this country, authoritarianism has already arrived in the United States of America. So we need to arrive to this moment soberly, and we've got to do things differently. And again, with all due respect to the timidity and the neutrality that I'm hearing from Democrats or even moderate Republicans, you should know better, and shame on you. There is no do-over. This could disappear very quickly. This is happening in plain sight before a vote is cast. You saw what happened after the votes were cast, as he tried to light democracy on fire and wreck this country and dial up for 12,000 votes with the Secretary of State in Georgia. And now he's doing it in plain sight. It is on our watch. We own this. Society becomes how we behave. We are now complicit at this moment unless we do something to change this.
They have gotten so angry at you. I mean, we can see the MAGA machine is absolutely terrified of this pushback. How has it been for you?
I got 4 kids. I'll be honest with you, it's thrilling in this respect. I get to look them in the eyes and say, you know what, I'm trying. Because you know what, they're getting bullied in their class. I had one of my kids had to be homeschooled a year ago. And I say that to make a point, not to, no one cares about, that's politics, get over it. But I wasn't doing enough for them. And I feel like at this moment, I'm just putting it all out there. I'm on the other side of caring what so-and-so says on a morning show. Okay, I am. And the ultimate test for me is that rocking chair test. When I can look at these kids in the eye and say, I did everything I could to make the 250th anniversary feel as good as the 249th or 248th. This may be the best moment that we've ever experienced, or at least the last great moment of our democracy, the best of the Roman Republic, the Greek democracy, the co-equal branches of government, this notion of the rule of law, and this fundamental notion of popular sovereignty. He doesn't believe in any of those things, period, full stop. And it's incredible. You talk a vote by mail. You talk about these threats. 80% of Californians voted by mail last year. This is serious, serious moment. And so to your question, I feel like I can hold myself to a higher level of accountability at this moment. And I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah. I actually had a moment like that with my kids too, where I was like, you know what? They elected him, but I wonder if you could talk for a minute. You did this amazing, amazing debate with DeSantis, and it was actually like, it just showed you were just really facile. That is a very hard thing as someone who has really struggled with that. And you really did debate. DeSantis does a lot of the MAGA stuff very well. He's
Yeah.
not charismatic like Trump, but he's able to sort of bob and weave in a MAGA way. Talk us through what it's like to push back against MAGA like that.
Well, it's the mis and disrepresentation, these weaponization of grievance you see on Fox, the bullshit 24/7 emanating from that, but they've shape-shifted everything. Look, I gotta give it to DeSantis in this respect. You know, 3, 4 years ago, he was not only winning, he was shaping the narrative. We were responding to CRT, ESG. And now it's become DEI, woke, the Anti-Woke Act. He was rewriting history, quite literally censoring historical facts. He was making it illegal to say things in the classroom and the boardroom as well. And when I say rewriting history, remember, they had a social studies book that changed in the state of Florida to take the race of Rosa Parks out of that social studies book. They've been on a banning bench, a cultural purge, and we were on the receiving end, and I couldn't take it anymore. And we're sitting there, and it's just the Pied Piper folks over at Fox playing into that. And I thought, look, I got to break into this. 8 out of 10 murder states are red states. The number of people dying in gun violence in these states. The fact that deaths of despair and that life, expectancy and maternal mortality and infant mortality and wages and uninsured rates. I mean, how in the hell are Democrats losing to these guys? And I just thought I'd take a flyer and have a 2-on-1 debate with Hannity and with DeSantis on Fox. He wouldn't have agreed to any other platform, DeSantis, than that layup.
You clearly are hitting a nerve with this pushback, with the satire, with the ability to really meet them where they are. They're going to take 5 seats, you're going to take 5 seats. That this kind of, I mean, people really want this and need this. Progressives don't like you. Why?
I don't know the guy that did a $20 minimum wage for fast food workers, 25 for healthcare workers. It's the only state in America with universal healthcare, regardless of pre-existing conditions or ability to pay. They created a brand new grade, preschool for all, after school for all, $14 billion investment, and summer school for all. That's done more on climate change than any other state in America, more in terms of support for childcare workers and a new bargaining unit across the spectrum. A lot of what progressives assert we've delivered in the state of California. But yeah, I balance budgets. I'm not a tax and spend liberal. I don't believe you need to be profligate to be progressive. And maybe that's the line that's been drawn for some. But look, I'm proud of the progressive wing of my party as I am proud of the moderate wing. I think we need to have a bigger tent. I think we need to win. I think it's time to be smash mouth. It's time to be aggressive. It's time to get on our toes. And it's time to get all back up into the game. And, we may have some interesting differences, as Bill Clinton would say, but it'd be nice if this party started to unite around our things that bind us together. And right now, it's not just anti-Trump. There are a lot of values that define the best of our party: racial justice, social justice, economic justice. And I just like to see this party come back together across those differences. And right now, we just don't have time. And I don't have the energy to get into all the little modest points of differentiation. We need all of us to step up and row in the same direction.
One last question. With this redistricting, we are in uncharted territory, right? None of this should be legal, but because the Voting Rights Act has been chipped away and the Supreme Court is so MAGA, we are in this place. Do you feel like there's a chance? I mean, you clearly have a lot of insight into what's going to happen with the judiciary. Do you think there's a chance that the courts are like, just stop this arms race?
Not a chance in hell with the Supreme Court. These guys are wired. I mean, these guys created the conditions that we're experiencing right now. They opened this door. They throw out the Voting Rights Act. I mean, if they throw out any of the racial components of this, which is where they were trying to, at least allegedly trying to be careful in terms of the conversations they were having on the floor of the Texas legislature in the last few days. But they throw that out, any pretense of that. You're talking about dozens and dozens of seats that could be rewired and reworked all across this country. You saw Trump last night and this morning, 100 seats he's trying to get now across this country. So we're in a race for democracy, a race for the future. Again, it's not just about our party, the Democratic Party. It's a race for power. And I'm talking about the power invested in the people, not in government.
And
This is a takeover from the power of the people, the power of one person, the rule of Don. That's what this is about. And I have no interest in the dawn of the end of this extraordinary 250-year enduring experiment. And all of us need to wake up. All of us need to galvanize around this. And none of us can be timid at this moment.